Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
Jordy powered by Go Chevrolet.
GEAUX, Chevrolet.com, online, and of course, used cars over at Go Express Auto Sales. You can find Go Express Auto Sales in the corner of Sherwood Forest and Sherwood Forest and Florida Boulevard. Online as well at GoChevrolet.com. Welcome into today's show. We'll talk to Kim Mulkey coming up here at 7:30 this morning. We'll talk to Coach Mulkey about a very special phone call she made yesterday to a legend of Baton Rouge, LSU, the state of Louisiana, WNBA, as Simone Augustus got the call from Coach Mulkey letting her know that she will have a statue built to honor her legacy on the campus of LSU. We'll ask her about that phone call, the offseason for the Lady Tigers, Simone Augustus and a relationship with LSU basketball. All of that coming up at 7:30 this morning when we talk to Coach Mulkey. And then at 8 a.m., we will talk to our guy Billy Embody from On3 Sports, On3 Recruiting, and we will talk to him about five-star Jaden Wayne, who was down this past Saturday, already has plans to return to LSU out of Washington. He is a five-star defensive lineman who was down in Baton Rouge over the weekend. We'll ask our guy Billy Embody on the latest on Wayne and other recruits during this recruiting cycle coming up here. If you have a question for Billy Embody, anything around recruiting, anything around NIL, anything around this offseason and spring football, jump inside of our chat app. All you got to do is hashtag Ask Billy, and we'll make sure and get the questions asked and answered for you coming up here at 8 a.m. this morning on this Tuesday edition. We appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button, as that helps us out, as you know, every single day. We're brought to you by True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com. Papa Earl's, our official spice, 30% less sodium than our competition. Remember, pick up Papa Earl's anywhere that you shop locally. And, of course, our phone lines are brought to you, compliments of our friends over at Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Jason Ramazan, Charles Harvey, and the entire crew over there bringing you our phone lines today, where we'll talk to Coach Kim Mulkey coming up here at 7:30 this morning, and Billy Embody at 8 a.m. Coming up here today. We appreciate everybody's being inside of the chat. We'll talk a little bit. I see Cody Boudreaux asking about what Dabo Sweeney said, and we didn't talk too much about it yesterday. I saw we had it in the docket, but he was the center of a ESPN interview over the weekend that was talking about the changes to college football, and in much like Dabo fashion, very outspoken, very bold in his words, and things that may, in today's world, not settle in so nicely is causing much of a reaction across the country. So we'll talk about that coming up here.
He's so against that.
Wait, I didn't even read this article.
Yeah, it was a pretty in depth. It was a pretty in depth interview. I say in depth. It was.
You can't really go in depth with Dabo.
Just a sit down with Dabo.
I don't know how smart he is.
It was just the low hanging fruit of college football. Transfer portal, NIL, all this
Money,
stuff. Yeah, right.
yeah.
I mean, all this stuff.
Old Dabo.
That is swimming around the sport right now.
Little old Clemson.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Clemson.
Little old Clemson.
Remember when Clemson used to be it was like what was it? Don't get Clemsoned?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, LSU put that they're the reason that you can't get Clemsoned anymore.
Right. With a Peach Bowl.
Yep, Peach Bowl. Was it 21-0 at half?
Yeah.
And
Jeremy Hill came out and had like a 50-yard touchdown run to start. They never gave him the ball again.
shocking.
It was just
Taj Boyd caught fire.
They knocked somebody out of the game like on the third play for Clemson. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, it was Sammy Watkins.
Barkevius Mingo.
Like an end around.
Sounded like a shotgun blast.
Almost killed him. Yeah,
I mean, like it was.
He almost killed him.
It was.
He was basically
it
dead.
was one of the loudest hits I've ever heard. We were at the game, and the sound of it was just like, holy shit, is he dead? I mean, you wonder, like, is he going to be able to get? And he didn't move.
No.
Like for 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, he was just laying there on the ground, and LSU controlled it. Who was their Taj Boyd?
Taj Boyd.
Taj Boyd was their quarterback that night.
That was DeAndre Hopkins' night.
DeAndre Hopkins.
And Martavis Bryant.
Martavius Bryant, that's
They
right.
killed
Martavius Bryant killed LSU that night.
Did they have, was CJ Spiller on that squad? Or was
I don't
that,
know. I think that was, Spiller was before that.
Wait, what year was this?
13?
It was wasn't it New Year's
It was
Eve
New Year's.
day?
It was like the Zach Mettenberger,
2012.
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham
Oh, God.
junior team.
Yep.
Like that was their junior year. Or Mettenberger's junior year. and Landry and Beckham's sophomore season.
Because we went out that night at halftime. I was in New Orleans, and we're like, well, this one's sewed up. We're good. Then I remember looking at the TV again wherever we were. I was like, what is happening? LSU, they're losing.
Les Miles.
Les Miles.
Yeah, the stat line for Mettenberger that night was awful.
Awful.
14 of 23, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Oh.
Had Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham had 3 catches for 40 yards.
Jarvis had a touchdown.
Yeah, Jarvis. I don't. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
Let me open the whole.
Somebody had to score.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was.
It's so disgusting.
It was painful.
God, I
watch
don't
the
miss that. If
game.
that ever
I mean-
happens again, I'm out.
Yeah. I
I'm
would
out.
tap
It's
out.
because
I'm
you
out.
left.
I would tap. Really and truly, it was. I'm a little out because of it now. I mean, 2019 sucked me back in.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow brought me back in, and it was almost kind of a retro feel to LSU football because Les Miles had spooked me so much that you almost like turned on the program under his direction. It was almost like, I'm not even watching this. I'm sure as hell not supporting or pulling for it because it's only going to lead to heartbreak
Every time.
every single time.
And he would get you close, too.
He
He would
would.
suck you back
And
in
he knew
every
what he was
now and
doing.
again. Yeah, a little trick play. And like, oh, this is fun.
He knew what he was doing.
God damn it.
He knew what he was doing.
Come out in the spread,
Yeah. Right.
run the ball,
Once a year. We're different.
slants.
I swear I'm different.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
God. I can't believe we went through that.
A decade.
Oh.
Y'all
And people
loved
loved
him for
him.
a long time.
Who did?
Oh,
No,
everybody.
me.
no.
Come on.
Not
I
me.
got
I
in
never,
so many
ever,
fights about
Ever.
that.
Me too.
I don't believe that.
I
for
killed
a
the buzz
second.
at many a parties.
He wins 10 games a year.
Like talking about like, are y'all serious with this guy?
What are you watching?
Like y'all really support this
How
clown?
long was he here?
11
long.
years.
11 years.
11 years.
See, I was young when
God,
he
that's a
first
long
got
time.
here, so I like kind of had that love
Sure.
for him.
Well, yeah, you didn't
but
have a
once I
choice.
learned like
You hadn't
what,
been hurt yet,
like
Stewie.
what football's supposed to be, and like I'm watching other teams throw the ball 30 times a game, and we're running the ball 40.
I mean, I would say that the peak of my LSU fandom was like 96. Kevin Falk. Mm-hmm. Like really like bought me in. Like, you know, like outside of like being like a kid. Right?
Right.
Like, I mean, like the young teams are when you're like in your grandfather's back pocket going to the games. I mean, you're just like falling in love with it. Like when you were like, felt like
Reading
you
the program.
knew the players, like where they came from, everybody's hometown, the number they wore in high school was like Kevin Falk through the Saban days. And Saban made you, like if you were a fringe LSU football fan at the time, I mean, became almost obsessed with LSU football just because of how dominant they were and what they were going to be. And as
Seat at
soon
the
as they were
table.
about to take off,
He leaves.
Saban leaves you on Christmas night while he's in
Oh,
another
Saint Nick.
state. He does the press conference in Florida to kind of like, you can't even react to it. And then, you know, I mean, Skip Burtman was so jaded by the way that Saban had, you know, mentally dominated him on a campus that he had really brought so much respect to, that Skip was so he was so beaten up by Saban that he had to go get somebody that he could control. You know what I mean? That he could
Puppet master.
absolutely. And I'd imagine that within that interview, Skip Burtman looked at Les Miles and was like, "Here's our guy. We can
got it.
steer this clown any way we want him."
Just let him do whatever he wants at night.
It was,
What?
Well,
yeah, man. The guy was just
Stories are
driving
out.
around with.
But didn't y'all hate Nick when he left? I mean, I moved
No.
here when
No.
this happened, and I remember the
No.
billboards that were him burning in like a fiery hell, saying like "Welcome back, Nick." I couldn't even
well, that
believe
was
what
when he
happening.
went to Alabama.
I know. So didn't
Yes.
y'all embrace Les when that happened?
No.
A little bit.
No.
No,
Not at all.
never.
So y'all didn't even want him to be the coach.
No.
So you hated
Didn't
it
even
for
know who he
11
was.
years.
The only thing I knew about Les Miles was that he almost beat Texas once. He got him with the Vince Young pump fake
Mm-hmm.
whenever he was at Oklahoma State. And Vince, you know, brought him all the way back. But that's the only game I ever saw Les Miles even be
The
a
only thing
factor.
the only thing I knew about Les Miles was that interview that he gave before the Oklahoma game, where he was like,
Let her rip.
"Yeah." And I was like, because they were like people were like, "This is our guy," like sitting around like, "Good God."
He is a soundbite now.
Yeah,
He had
like,
a
I mean,
couple
a
of 'em.
cheesy one.
Of course, but it was something. I
It was
guess.
something. The grass eating, the hat, all the things.
Gosh,
He was on an ESPN commercial drinking
He
grass.
was.
That thing was a hit.
I mean, everybody loved it.
I think that I really do think that the national love affair for him saved his job in Baton Rouge. like people started to fall in love with him.
Just his weirdness.
Just
his
yeah, I
quirkiness.
mean,
Quirky,
just his
yeah.
quirkiness.
Well, you had to embrace him.
He used to
almost.
wear the what did the Nike the Monarchs?
Air Monarchs.
He
Yeah.
wore,
That's right.
he wore the Monarchs. He ate grass. He
That was the
gave you
weirdest
stupid
thing.
sound bites.
If you're a girl.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it was just like he was mesmerizing to the national media. I remember going to SEC media days so many years, and people were like, we can't wait till Les gets here. I'm like, for what? Like, you never know what he's gonna say. Like,
Because he doesn't know how to
because
speak.
he doesn't know what he's gonna say.
say.
You know what I mean? Like,
His brain, dude. I would love to just get a peek in there. It's
Would
just,
you?
It's just ping ponging around, just thinking about women.
yeah.
Yeah,
He is straight. We know that.
we assume. Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know anything else about him, but I do know he likes girls.
Speaking of women's basketball, Simone Augustus.
Were we talking about women that are just women? You mean?
Yeah, right.
Speaking of girls,
We're going to talk to Coach Kim Mulkey here in a couple of minutes, and this is past due. I'm a little confused reading the press release, though. When I read the press release, the last line of it says, to help celebrate Augustus, you can contribute to the LSU Great Statue Fund through the Tiger Athletic Foundation to support the construction of the statue, honoring her legacy. Click here to donate.
but when you click, there's no like explanation of what it is. It's like if you just went to the TAF website and saw that and clicked on it, you'd be like, well, who's the statue for? Are we just erecting any statue?
And LSU announced yesterday that they are building a statue for Simone Augustus. So I guess my first question would be, if they open it up, are they building, like, is the plan in place to build the statue, or are they on
funding
a
it?
fundraising tour to build the statue? Either way, I'm on board. I'm just looking for a little clarity on what the message is. Are we
Crowd push
celebrating
should
the
be able to get
statue
involved
going
in
up?
this
Right?
thing.
What's
a little
that?
crowd push maybe might help them. I don't know how they're raising money. Apparently the link doesn't go anywhere, but that would be a
Well,
great
it
way to get
goes
them
to a
involved.
fundraiser, but it just doesn't describe. Like, I think in the comments, could you put whoever else you want to build a statue for?
I would assume so.
Me.
I would assume so. I don't, you know, I mean, like, I again, just a little confused, but
Yeah.
I would say that the announcement recognizing that Simone Augustus is going to be honored on LSU's campus should be widely celebrated, because not that it's past due or people have been waiting, but it's time. I mean, it is time to celebrate the accomplishments of Simone Augustus and what she has meant, not only for the women's basketball program, but for the entire institution, brand, city, state, and the flagship university of LSU. Obviously, her being a Baton Rouge native and me being from this town around the same age, I recall the first time I saw Simone Augustus was when she was on Sports Illustrated for women when she was in 8th grade, wearing her Capital High School uniform. And then I'll never forget the first time that I saw her play basketball. We were down in the dungeon, which is kind of below the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, that now the LSU volleyball team uses. But for so long, I mean, it was the backdrop of pickup games, practices, and really kind of the blood, sweat, and tears of LSU basketball. And they would have, some of the fiercest pickup games that you know I've seen, been a part of, been involved in. I mean, just being around, came out of that dungeon. I mean, just came out of that on that floor. And Simone Augustus was going into her 9th grade year, and she was playing a pickup game against men, not boys. I mean, like young kids. I mean, like, she was not against 8th and 9th graders, people her age. I mean, she was playing against college level players. It wasn't the LSU basketball team. They had some of the basketball players out there, but it was a lot of, you know, athletes from campus. It was almost like a rec game, a pickup game, an intramural game with some of the top athletes on campus out there. And she was going into 9th grade, and it was the first time that I had ever seen in competition anybody dribble the ball between their legs the entire length of the floor as she brought it up. Somebody from the other team scored, and she grabbed the ball out of the net, and she was super swaggy, man. I mean, she had like these socks pulled all the way up. She had her hair braided. She had like the headband on.
That's awesome.
She had a sick pair of J's on. I mean, like it was just like, who is this?
That's so
You know
cool.
what I mean? Like,
love.
and she grabbed the ball out of the net, and I mean, as smooth as Allen Iverson coming up the floor, handling the ball, young in her basketball career, she looked like a pro. She looked like the best player out there, and she was toying with people. I mean, she had the ball on a yo-yo. I mean, she could bring it anywhere. It was like on a string. She could flip it out and pull it back in. She'd make you reach for it, and she'd cross you over. And I mean, and the reaction that she was causing in this room of older, more experienced, prideful, young, ego-driven males was, you could sense the respect that the entire gym had for her. And I remember just watching in awe, just kind of like I could not believe what I was seeing so young. If she was in 9th grade, I was probably in 11th going into 9th grade. I was probably going into 12th grade, 11th grade at the time in high school, and just thinking back and looking back and being like, man, she is going to be incredible when it all just kind of blossoms for her and she's recruitable, and not knowing that you would have the opportunity, and didn't even think about at the time that you would have to, have a chance to watch her play at Capitol High School and the things that she accomplished there. National Player of the Year, #1 recruit in the country, best women's basketball player of her generation. Pat Summitt, who was the Nick Saban of women's basketball at the time, camped out in Baton Rouge every day, every game. You could go to Capitol High School on some random Tuesday night in the middle of basketball season, and Pat Summitt would be sitting in decked out orange on the front row, knowing everybody. It was like she was the mayor. It was like she was the principal of Capitol. And Sue Gunner at LSU, God rest her soul, God rest Coach Summitt's soul as well, rest in peace. They were in a fierce recruiting battle for a revolutionary player. And this is exactly what Sue Gunner, the LSU administration, Skip Bertman at the time, it was a full university recruiting effort, state, city recruiting effort to get Simone to stay in Baton Rouge and LSU. Now, the more she talks about it, it seems like she kind of figured and knew she was going to LSU, but there were schools, Tennessee, UConn. The heavyweights of women's basketball at the time were beating down her door and giving her something to think about. And then obviously she comes to LSU and leads the program to 3 Final Fours. She's the National Player of the Year 2 times. She's the SEC Player of the Year twice. She's the #1 pick in the draft. And the attention that she would bring to the program it's Burrow-esque, but it's for a longer period of time, right? She was LSU women's basketball's Joe Burrow, but she was here for 4 years. Think about the impact that Burrow would have had if Burrow was at his status, his senior year, for all 4 years in Baton Rouge. That's ultimately what Simone was. She was at the top of her game every single year she was on LSU's campus. She was the best player in the sport. She was never in any type of off-the-court stuff. She never brought anything to the program university that was negative. This is way overdue as far as recognizing one of the greats in our state and somebody who has meant so much to the flagship university. Simone Augustus means as much to LSU, to the city of Baton Rouge, to the state of Louisiana, as anybody you want to bring up. Politicians, sports stars, businessmen and women, anybody who has had a significant impact on our territory, on our place, on our town, on our city, on our university, on our state. Nobody has done it better than Simone Augustus. Nobody. I mean, the way that she continues to represent us in the WNBA, in her professional career, in her coaching career. She is an absolute beacon of hope and light for a lot of people in this town and a lot of people that have come from here. And to see a statue being erected in her honor on LSU's campus feels just right. It should be done. It should be celebrated. She should be recognized. And generations of people forever should be able to pull up, walk into the Maravich Center or wherever LSU's playing basketball and see that Simone Augustus made an impact and what she meant and what she's done. Because I don't know if you can honor her enough. I don't know if a statue and her number and name in the rafters is even enough to recognize how much she means to LSU women's basketball. I really don't. I think it's
really lovely, Jordy.
No, it is, man.
I'm serious.
I mean, I remember watching her. I remember being in the moment thinking, we're seeing greatness. This is, we will think and talk about this forever. And from my point of view, from 2004, 5, and 6, Coach John Brady gave me a front row seat to LSU men's basketball. In the locker rooms, at practices, on road trips, at the games, on the bench. I mean, and knowing and seeing the respect that those guys had for her. The Tyrus Thomases, the Glenn Davises, the Garrett Temples, the Daryl Mitchells, the Tasman Mitchells. I mean, all of these guys that came through here that had all of the star rankings, all of the accolades, all of the awards, they would stay after practice. Like if LSU men and women would share the floor, like some days, you know what I mean, like both need to practice on the main floor. Or this was back in 04, 05, 06 when they didn't have their own practice facilities.
They would practice together?
No, they would have, you know, LSU men would go at 1 o'clock and the women would show up at 3 o'clock.
That's funny.
And, you know, LSU men would practice for 2 hours and then Simone and Sylvia and the women would come out there and they'd start their practice. The fellas would go in there, cut their tape, shower if they needed to, come back out, and they'd watch her practice. Like there'd be like 6 or 7 of these guys like waiting and just sitting in the stands watching them practice. And like if she'd make a move, they'd stand up. You know what I mean? Like they'd give a reaction. If she was kind of standing over there, they'd ask her kind of like what she saw. What she, I mean, her and Daryl Mitchell had a great basketball relationship where you could see like Daryl Mitchell was a coach's son. You know, Daryl Mitchell Sr. led St. Martinville to a couple of state championships when he was coaching them. Daryl was his star player one season on their state title run. Daryl's a very basketball savvy dude. You know what I mean? You sit down and watch a quarter of basketball with him, and he says some of the things, and you're just like, "Well, I didn't even see that. I don't even know how you saw that."
I love watching with people like that. That's like Noah watching.
We would sit in the back. We would sit in the back with those guys at like TJ Ribs or Dreamland Barbecue was big during those days, and there was a back room, and the LSU basketball team would go back there, and we'd be watching like the Lakers teams play. We'd be watching NBA finals. We'd watch those Pistons Lakers finals together. And Mitch would talk about, you know, just watching Kobe play. He'd point some things out, and like the whole room would be like, "Damn, I didn't even think about
we're not
that."
watching the game the same way.
It was different. And Simone would have that type of point of view where she would resource Mitch, D. Mitch would resource Simone, just kind of like on, "What'd you see? What do you see?" Like, I mean, he would give her scouting reports on other teams, and she would look at it and give him pointers. You know, give him some suggestions.
What's Capitol High? Was that before my time here?
No, it's still.
Now it's a combined.
Yeah, it's
school.
a charter school. Is it a charter school?
We played them in the playoffs, and they were not 2A.
Oh, really? But it's here in Baton Rouge.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's right. It's actually 3 minutes from here.
Oh.
But it was 2 different schools, and they combined. Wasn't it just a men's school, or was it men's and women's, and they cut it to just a men's school at some point? Something like that happened. It was
okay.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, but when Simone was there, Brandon Bass and Simone Augustus were both on Capitol's campus. They had 2 McDonald's All-Americans.
Really?
One on the male side, one on the female side, and were both recognized as just dominant. I mean, Brandon Bass was a top 30 recruit.
Sounds like a
coming
Madison
out.
Prep.
I believe Bass was 1 year older than Simone.
That buzzer beater from Tennessee was backbreaker. When Simone did that Final Four run.
That was a killer.
That was a killer. I remember watching. I still remember where I was watching that game.
You do?
Oh.
That's cool.
Well, yeah, but that's how good the LSU women's team was.
Yeah.
Like, it was appointment television.
Yeah, it was.
And it was Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, Tamika Johnson, I think, running point.
Tamika was the one that had the bad turnover.
Yeah, in the backcourt. I remember it. It was brutal, and they never won a title. All right, we're going to try and link up with Coach
Mulkey here. She made the call yesterday to Simone to break the news that this was going to happen on LSU's campus. We'll ask Coach Mulkey. Look, Coach Mulkey was very prominent during that time. I know that we've asked her about recruiting Simone. She was actually she played against Simone in that one of those Final Fours. Baylor and Mulkey got over the LSU. Probably the better team that day to win Coach Mulkey's first national championship. So she's got very much of an understanding of what it was like to go against and recruit Simone, and we'll talk to her about all those stories coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We are brought to you by Edward Jones. Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman about some of your financial questions that you may have. Get in touch with Daniel today at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. daniel.newman@edwardjones.com to get up with Daniel today. He can help you out with all of your financial questions. It's tax week here, and you may have some questions about how you handle your taxes, how you need to file your taxes, any questions that you may have. You can get them over to Daniel, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you work in the plant industry, he can help you out as well. A lot of experience in there. So if you have questions about your finances, call him today, 225-261-8262, 225-261-8262. Coach Kim Mulkey of LSU basketball next.
Southern Eye Centers, where their passion is caring for eyes. It's what they do. They've been doing it for 40 years. They've been offering the Capital Region a friendly, helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. Stop in and see their brand new office on Jefferson Highway today, where you can find them at 6859 Jefferson Highway. They also are the daily poll sponsor on the Culotta Show. And remember, if you go into Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you will receive 25% off of their fantastic sunglasses selection over at Southern Eye Center. Check out Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Center, the daily poll sponsor of the Jordy Culotta Show.
Shout out to Tom Granning from everybody over here at FM Digital Media, as he is our fuel sponsor. Whether it's fuel cards or snacks, he's keeping us going every day at FM Digital Media. If you're out on Highway 61, make sure and stop in and see him over at Go Mart. It is located in Natchez, Mississippi. It is our favorite convenience store, and it's for our guy Tom Granning, who supports us every day over here at FM Digital Media. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet here on this Tuesday edition, where we're celebrating the call that Coach Kim Mulkey made yesterday to an LSU legend. LSU did a great job of capturing that moment and bringing it to life for the LSU fans, as Coach Mulkey was on the end of the line with Simone on the other end, breaking the news that there was going to be a statue going up on campus to recognize the greatness that Simone has always represented for the state of Louisiana, the city of Baton Rouge, and for LSU women's basketball. We welcome in the Hall of Famer here on this Tuesday morning. Coach, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. What a cool moment yesterday for you, for the program, to break the news to the legend, Simone, that there would be a statue on campus for her. How cool was that moment for you?
Well, that call was actually made a little while back, not a long time ago, but just to let her know. And we just decided yesterday, I say we, the administration decided to release it yesterday. But absolutely, it was cool. It was a moment that was touching. She was, she's such a kind of a young lady that just doesn't say a whole lot. And I could hear the sniffles on the other end of the line. And she was very emotional, very appreciative. LSU means a great deal to her. The state of Louisiana does. And she's so deserving. And I'm so glad I could be a part of that phone call.
Coach, I don't know if I said I don't know if LSU could honor her enough. I can't think of an individual that has had more of an impact, whether it's on the athletic department or the institution as a whole, than Simone Augustus. Everybody, anybody that's come through here, I think she means as much to the state and the flagship university as anyone. You recruited her, coached against her, and now are on the same side as her. What do you think of Simone Augustus when you just say the name in women's college basketball?
Well, we all love her because of her connections to LSU and to the state of Louisiana. We all got to watch her grow up at Capitol High School. She stayed at home. She stayed in state. Is a household name to all of us. But what we sometimes fail to realize is she's a household name in the United States and internationally. Her career went far beyond LSU. She's touched so many people's lives, and she's done it all. Olympics, WNBA championships. There's not anything she didn't accomplish basketball-wise. And yet, she's remained grounded. You've seen her at our games all year. Her parents were at our banquet last night. Those are the kind of people that make LSU and make the state of Louisiana wonderful. And she just is so deserving. And quite honestly, when I took the job here and I walked around the PMAC and I walked around campus, I just think of so many things that needed to be done. And that was one of the first that stood out, is we need a statue for Simone Augustus.
Wow, that is cool. Coach, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe the early biggest win in your career was against LSU to get to that natty and overcome that beast of Simone. Can you take me back to that time when you were a young coach and recruiting her and getting ready to play her and what that was like?
Well, we recruited Simone when I was at Louisiana Tech. So obviously we didn't get her. She stayed at home and went to LSU. So that was my first introduction to Simone and her family. We tried to get her to come to Louisiana Tech. And then I left Tech and went to Baylor, and we played them prior to that semifinal game in the national Final Four tournament. But we couldn't beat them. Came to LSU and lost, and played them actually that same year that we beat them in the Final Four. We lost to them earlier that year. And so we go to the RCA Dome in 2005, and we have to match up with the best player in the country, and then the best post player in the country, and Sylvia Fowles, and the best point guard in the country, and Tamika Johnson. And we struggled in the first half, got down, I think it was about 15 at halftime. And I just thought this could get really ugly in the second half if we don't make a few adjustments. And so the day before the game, for about 30 minutes, I don't even want to say I taught a 3-2 zone. I just put players in a position and said, if I have to go to a zone, this is what you do. And we threw the 3-2 zone at them, and they missed some shots and took them out of rhythm, and the rest is history. We ended up winning that game by about 5, and then went on to win the national championship. So it was just a few adjustments we made, basically to try not to get embarrassed on national television.
Coach Kim Mulkey, the Hall of Famer, joining us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. You mentioned last night was the women's banquet. Well, first, before we move on to your team and the success of last night and what the future holds, is there anything left unsaid about Simone that you would like to say? I know that we celebrate her greatness in the statue. Everybody can't wait for that. But is there anything on Simone that has not been said that you want to be out there?
I just want people to realize she's so soft-spoken. She is one of the more humble athletes that you'll ever be around. And I think that sometimes you don't realize what you have until it's gone. And I don't want anyone to ever forget what she means to LSU, to the women's basketball program, and to the state of Louisiana.
Coach, you mentioned last night was your banquet for celebrating last year's team, and so much to celebrate last season. What was last night like, getting everybody together again?
It was actually beautiful. I don't know what my expectation was. I know what we had at Baylor, but it was absolutely awesome. It was crowded, great attendance. The only thing is the seniors were not there because we had planned this banquet months ago. And as you know, it takes a lot in the planning of a banquet for it to all go just perfect. And the last minute, the WNBA every year chooses the date in which they're going to host the draft. And certainly you don't want those seniors to miss if they have any little draft party, which Khayla Pointer did, and she invited her teammates that came to LSU with her. Those seniors stayed back and participated in her draft party. So we missed them at the banquet, but certainly kept up with what was going on and announced it when both she and Faustine were drafted last night, and the crowd loved it. But you're happy for those young ladies. That's far more important in their world than a banquet. But the banquet was it was just great. The video that was put together by our social media people, they're just so good at what they do, and it was just a great night.
What does that do for your program? Do you able to sell and recruit that on the recruiting trail that you've got 2 first-round picks in your first season, huh?
Well, there weren't first-round picks. Faustine and KP were both second and third round. KP was the first pick in the second round, and I want to say Faustine was like the 35th pick. There's only 36 picks, and Faustine and KP, ironically, both went to Nikki Fargas's team. So she's very familiar with them, and that was what I noticed. And then also my 2 Baylor kids went in the first round to the same team. So it was kind of unique in that I saw players from the same team go to the same team in the WNBA.
I know you had a chance to go up against Ryan Howard, who was the number 1 pick. And I know once you played her in the tournament, you said that's what number 1 picks look like. Were you surprised to see her go with the top overall choice?
I'd been reading all year that it would either be her or my former player at Baylor, Nalissa Smith, and I think they had a lot of movement with who was going to be the team to select first. Originally, I think it was going to be the Washington Mystics, but somehow I guess they worked a deal, and it ended up being the Atlanta Dream. And so you never know what each team needs. They're both certainly great players. I got to see Ryan Howard in the SEC tournament that I did not see when we played them in the PMAC. At the SEC tournament, she was Steph Curry all over. She was running down the floor before the ball ever hit the rim. I was like, I'd never seen anything like that from Ryan Howard. So she gained my respect in that moment. And of course, I spent 3 years coaching Nalissa Smith, and I think it's just a matter of who traded up and who got the first and second picks. And it's a happy moment for me to be able to watch former players I coach and current players that I got to coach.
Coach, you had one of your assistants, and I know one of your great friends, move on and accept a head coaching job at Central Florida in Coach Messer, who has been with you for a while. Can you talk about that relationship and now the opportunity that she has and the void you now have to fill on your staff?
Well, sure. I'll be glad to tell you. Satia Messer has been with me and for 8 years and came with me to LSU, and there was no misunderstanding. She wanted to get a head job again, and that's what we do in this business. Yeah. As head coaches, you watch your assistants grow and want to take over their own program. And so we're all excited and happy for her. Selfishly, you never want to lose a coach, but it makes you look good. It makes the program look good when people can go on and become head coaches. And so she got the head job at the University of Central Florida. And I don't mind telling you, I announced it at the banquet last night. I quickly replaced her with a very familiar and loving LSU loving guy in Bob Starkey.
Wow.
Bob Starkey's coming back to LSU.
Wow.
That is a great hire for us.
Great
and
hire.
He actually will be in town today, and he will officially start the end of the month. But I was, granted permission last night to release that, and wow, what a hire and what a steal for us.
Coach, what a hire. Wow. That is.
Jordy, don't ever underestimate Mulkey, huh?
Oh, who you talking to?
No one
I
does.
mean, I'm driving the bandwagon. I know it. That is an amazing hire, though. How about the jacket going for how much did we say? 2,500.
I think 2,500. Yeah.
Wow, the butterfly jacket, Coach.
Listen, it was so cool. I've never
Don't
been
ever
at a
underestimate
banquet.
her.
That's right.
Yeah, I've never been at a banquet where you're, have an auction. Things are different at Baylor, and the culture's different, and it was just so neat to see the 4 items that were auctioned last night, and it's just funny to me because they had the actual jacket I wore, and the reason I knew it was my jacket is because I busted the seam of it behind me when I pumped my fist one time. There it was, the busted seam. It was a neat night, and we raised some money there with those 4 items, and just want to thank all the fans that were there and those that bid on the items, and wow, it's money that will be used in our program for sure.
Bob Starkey, what a hire! What a great!
How about that?
What a great hire!
I'm not done. Hey, I'm not done yet. I've got Coach Johnny is been with me for 22 years, and he's going to retire at the end of the summer, and so I'll do some rearranging of my staff, and that's what. It's going to be exciting. I'm going to bring in another coach, and I've already kind of done that. We just got to do the paperwork, but I couldn't hold my tongue with Bob Starkey because I know how much he means to LSU. I know how much he loves LSU, and honestly, it wasn't a hard sell. When I picked up the phone, I didn't have to sell LSU. Just as when Scott Woodward called me, what is Scott Woodward going to tell Kim Mulkey? It's either right in my life or right in Bob's life. And I'm so appreciative because I want his help on the floor. I don't want to have to keep doing it all on my own. And he's just a person that is very good at what he does.
The Hall of Famer doing Hall of Fame stuff as Coach Kim Mulkey is replacing a roster, replacing a coaching staff, and has the buzz around LSU women's basketball. This call started celebrating Simone Augustus and the statue that will go up on campus for her, and we ended it by celebrating what the future's looking like under the direction of Coach Mulkey. Coach, thank you for your time as always. We'll talk again soon.
Take care, guys.
All right, see you. There's Coach Kim Mulkey checking in this morning. Oh, my goodness.
I'm just doing my research over here on Starkey. I had no idea.
Was he was here initially
90
in
to
Simone
90
Augustus? Yeah, so he was, I want to say he was the lead recruiter on Simone.
Wow.
He
Yeah.
was the men's assistant coach under Del
right.
Brown for 90 to 96, and then 89 to 2011 LSU women's assistant, and then A&M, and then Auburn,
That's right.
and now back.
Now back.
That's quite a career.
Bobby. Hell of a hire.
He's got a lot of wins under
Hell
his
of a
name.
hire.
Yeah. It's
Congratulations to
pretty
the
amazing.
LSU women's program and Coach Mulkey for announcing that this morning. We appreciate her for announcing that right here on the Jordy Culotta show. As that's big news, man.
Yeah, it
remember,
is.
our roofer is Steel Henry. He can be yours if you want to get in touch with him today just by dialing him up at 318-229-7266. That's the phone number. Store that into your contacts list if you don't mind. That's your roofer. That's our roofer.
That's his cell,
roof
ladies.
roofing. Steel Henry, 318-229-7266. 318-229-7266. Know who's on your roof. Steel Henry, our official roofer over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. If you had some damage to some roofs that came through with the weather that came through over the past couple of weeks, months, even the year over here in South Louisiana, let Steel help you out today. He works the entire South Louisiana I-10 corridor. He's stationed in Lafayette. He works Baton Rouge and New Orleans. All you got to do is dial him up. He'll be on your roof today if you dial this number, 318-229-7266. 318-229-7266. Steel Henry and the crew over at Hargrove Roofing getting you right. Dial them up today. We'll talk to Billy Embody coming up here in a couple of minutes as Embody will stop in, give us the latest on his spring football report, what he's seen, the latest on this Will Campbell story that seems to be having everybody mesmerized on Campbell stepping in and becoming a starter at the left tackle spot before he even really begins his freshman season, as he is an early enrollee. He's still supposed to be in high school right now, and he's logging first-team reps for LSU out there. How long does that last? What does he expect from this recruiting class and the impact to make here? And if you have any questions, remember, jump inside of the chat app, hashtag #AskBilly, and we will get the questions asked to our friend Billy Embody from On3 Recruiting, on3.com, coming up here at 8 o'clock. We'll be right back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We're having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, getting you set up for the second hour as we will touch on a few topics here, including Brandon Murray choosing his new school, Georgetown, as I believe we told you so.
I know they stunk so bad.
Oh, and they didn't win a game, Coach.
0-19
They
in
didn't
the
win
conference.
one game?
In the conference, they didn't win a game. Yeah, the Big East Big East is back.
Yeah, right.
If you ask
Georgetown
Patrick Ewing-
0-19. Nothing says the Big East is back like Georgetown going 0-19 in the conference. But Brandon Murray, as we said, Kevin Nickelberry accepted the assistant coaching job with Georgetown. Patrick Ewing, who is probably top 3 most famous Georgetown alum. I would put Allen Iverson probably in the top spot.
Ooh, I would flip it.
Would you put Patrick
Yeah, just
Ewing number
because
1?
of the little.
Wow,
you
put it
know.
on the poll. More famous of a Georgetown alum. Brought to you by Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. 25% off if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, located on Jefferson Highway. Allen Iverson or Patrick Ewing? This is probably going to be an age difference, and I would think that we're on the different sides of the argument here. I think if we were opening this up to the betting public and asked which one of the two had Patrick Ewing as the top alum and which had Allen Iverson, the younger one would probably say AI, but you play an old man this morning going with Patrick Ewing, which is very surprising.
With the shirt, they made kind of Georgetown do the undersleeve shirt.
That's right.
That's
right.
That's what I think of.
Wait,
I think
what's
of
the
Patrick Ewing.
undersleeve shirt?
They wore like the
They
white
wore like
people
the
shirt.
undershirts.
Yeah.
Oh, under their jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was like a Georgetown like little tradition. That's
Oh,
their
it
thing.
is?
Yeah.
Shaq wore the undershirt early
A
in
lot of
his
people
LSU
wear the
days.
undershirt, right?
No.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I don't like
Brandon
it.
Murray's an undershirt guy.
George fit right
Yeah,
in.
people do it.
Lloyd
weird.
hit me with a hell of an excuse on why he was going to be late to work this morning. I was going to open it up to the public here and open it up to the chat. What's the craziest excuse that you've tried
That's
to
how you
get
know
away
it's true,
with?
though.
It's double sided. It's double sided.
Well, it can't be lost his keys again.
It was not the lost the keys.
I can't find my wallet.
Lost your car.
I
this
didn't
time?
know that Lloyd was a cat sitter.
I'm cat sitting
And
for
he
Sean.
is-
You're a cat owner.
I am.
He's a cat
My
owner.
daughter,
Right?
yes.
He's a cat person.
Yeah,
But I didn't know that he was. I didn't know that he was on
Yeah,
the
you're a
market
cat
as a
person.
cat sitter.
I don't think I get
Right?
paid anything. It's just a favor.
So Lloyd hits me with the text this morning at 6:13 a.m.,
Motherfucker.
which we like to, we like to show up about 6:30 here.
6:32.
Running, 6:32, still in the grace period.
Yes.
Running a touch behind today, probably 6:35, 6:40ish.
When I was texting it, I felt so stupid.
I am cat sitting, and this motherfucker keeps disappearing in the garage.
That's amazing.
He skedaddled right through. I was walking out the
I
door
was
and he
thinking
ran
to
right
myself
out.
as I was getting out of the shower here. I was thinking, and I read the text message. I was like, I wonder if he should have just hit me with like, I'm stopping to get gas.
Gas, yeah. But I wanted to tell the
It's like-
truth. Just-
Are you at his house doing this?
No. He's the cat's at my house, and that son of a bitch wouldn't shut up today either. He's usually very good, Icarus.
He's
But-
vocal.
Yeah, today he wanted it all morning, like from
Weird.
4 until
Wow.
6. I was like, buddy,
What?
what do we got going on today? What's happening? But then I guess he just wanted to leave because as soon as I opened up my door to walk into my car, he sprinted right out after me. Then he was just hiding in the garage
He
like,
wants to go home.
now you're in a worse spot than you were. You're upstairs with your food and your water.
freaking
You got a
cats.
free bed,
I don't
and he
get
wanted
'em.
to get in the garage. And I was like, well, fine, I'll leave your ass here if we don't get this thing figured out here in about 30 seconds.
But you
That is
didn't.
why I'm not a pet
got
owner.
him.
That is why I'm not a pet owner.
You have
You
a
are
dog.
a pet owner.
Yes, by proxy, you know what I mean. But I will say that
If
I
he
mean,
dies, you're not gonna
I am
cry.
in love with the dog that lives in my house. I wouldn't consider me a pet owner. You know what I mean? It was, but
Word.
What's that?
You said you're in love with him?
I love Copper, bro. I
Wow.
have come,
He turned you because
he
you're.
has turned me.
I've
He has-
seen the
He
relationship
has turned me,
happen.
and I was the one that picked him up and brought him to the studio yesterday. I felt the tension in the air. I felt that it was weird in here, but I was the one that went and got him because I kind of missed him.
Are
Hey.
you serious?
I like
was.
Should we all bring our
See, I
pets
like
here?
Copper
I mean, I
here.
guess that
I'm gonna
does
bring
open
both
it
my
up.
dogs.
It does open
Bring
it up
Henry.
for
Bring your
Henry.
cat.
For
I'll bring
Henry the
Henry.
goat. I'm pulling out of this argument. I'm not showing up to work with my dog, but I am saying if I would have been an organic pet owner, that this is the stuff that would have haunted me early. Like if the cat would have come back, I'd have left the cat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Kelly's told me a story
leave
about
a cat
her
right now.
Her roommate. I would today. I would leave the cat. But like her roommate and Kelly at one point lived in Austin, and her roommate at the time they made a trip back to Baton Rouge for like an engagement party, a wedding, or something over a weekend. And the roommate's dog was kind of like a wild golden retriever, a golden lab. And on the way home, they're leaving Baton Rouge and about to hit the interstate to get back on to 10 to head towards Houston and Austin. And they're driving down Nicholson or Dalrymple, whatever that is, by the lakes. And the dog at the stoplight with the window open jumps out of the window
God.
and jumps in the lake and starts swimming in the LSU lakes. And I'm like,
That's a retriever right there.
I'm like, so what did y'all do? She's like, well, it detoured the trip for like 2.5 hours because this dog is like swimming, like paddling in the middle of the
Having a
lakes.
day.
By the way, the dog's three-legged.
No
Three-legged
way.
dog.
And it
So
jumped out of a window?
the roommate
Oh, she schmams?
is yes,
Yeah.
it's Amy, is melting. Like she's like thinking like the dog is gonna drown in the middle of the lake because he's paddling himself almost to
In a
death.
circle.
Oh
Right?
my God. It would be in a circle.
And Kelly's, like they're like doing all of these like things to get the dog. Like Marshall is like the boyfriend is like running
About to
down
lose
like,
his
like yeah,
mind.
he's running, like losing his mind, like trying to impress the girl, like trying to get the dog back. You know what I mean? Do you jump in the lake and swim out to that sewer of an LSU lake? You know what I mean?
That's
In the
how the
middle
dog
of it?
ended up with 3 legs and
Right.
had 4 before he hopped in.
So I think like somebody was like, oh, they had like the guys had just gotten back from a hunting trip, and one of them like threw a
Little buoy.
the dog, and they chased the buoy in, and like 2 hours later they're finally like in the car with like a wet dog for a 7-hour road trip that they expected to get on the road 3 hours earlier, 2.5 hours earlier. And I said right there in that moment, that's why I would have been a shitty dog owner.
You'd have left him?
I'd have left him.
You would not have left
Jordy,
the dog
you
in the
can't
lake.
say that.
You would not.
I know I can't say it out loud, but I mean, like, at that point in my life,
gotta go.
at 22 to 25, you know what I mean? Like, just,
Did you have a dog growing up at
no,
all?
that's
Okay,
why.
That's why then.
That's why.
No pets.
That's why I didn't have any pets.
There are a lot of people like that didn't grow up with
I didn't
pets,
have
and
any
they're not
pets,
into
so, like the things that would turn me off about pet owners was the people that would talk to their pets like humans.
Yeah.
And like
Well,
treat them
that turns me off, and I'm a pet
like
owner.
humans.
See, I don't like when people talk to them like baby talk. Like
Okay.
I would rather
Agreed.
you
Agreed.
treat
That
them like
is-
a
I think
what's
that
up,
that's,
dude?
I think that's
Yeah.
the same umbrella.
Not a
Yeah.
child.
You know what I mean? But like, at what point do we got to get back to Austin? You know what I mean?
Are
Like,
you coming with us or not?
like really and truly. Like, I mean, I hate to say it out loud, but fuck this dog. You know what I mean? Like, I got to get back. I mean, like, if he doesn't want to come where he's fed, where he knows that he's got a warm bed, let him sleep out in the LSU sewer. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh my god.
He's
but
picked his
now
own fate.
I have turned. Chill out, Katie. I can hear you over there judging. I'm not like
I'm
that
not judging.
anymore. I'm
I
just
know, I
saying.
see it. You're not like that anymore. I'm not judging. I'm with you. I think it's weird when people treat their dogs like children, and I think it's weird when people think that you love their dog when you don't. Like when you don't put your
Well, I mean,
dog up when somebody comes over. Like I
It's-
don't expect you to
It's
love
the same
dog.
thing with your kid. Like
Yeah.
as a parent,
Oh, you'd leave your kid in the lake?
no, no. But I don't expect you to like my kid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's why like people that like accept and like your kid, like coach your kid, teach your kid, and they're like passionate, like that. I love it. It's tough to find.
It is.
You know what I mean? Like it's not yours.
It's
I don't
not your
expect you. I don't
responsibility.
expect you to think that it's perfect like
I
me.
did this.
You know what I mean? Like exactly. And the same goes for the pet.
I've seen you turn on Copper though, because I remember whenever he would come into the old studio and you would like pet him like you've never petted a dog before. Like you were very like
Yeah, definitely.
pretty good.
No, there was,
and
there
now
was
you give him the
definitely-
good rubs. You've figured out how to
Yes.
pet a dog.
Right. No, there
The
was,
love is there. It's
there
palpable.
there was definitely an awkward period of our
Yes.
relationship. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
where you would look at him, you're like,
Yeah.
and now you're into him.
No, I'm in.
Dogs can do that. They'll sway you.
Yeah, dogs are sweet.
Now
Cats,
Henry
not
can.
so much.
You see, y'all are.
They don't.
The
they
legend-
Don't, they
yeah,
don't have
there's-
a loving personality.
Yeah,
just
they
don't
do.
give a
You
shit
got
about you.
That's why you. Yeah, that's why I love cats. And we're both on the same page, bro. Me and you, just chilling. We don't have to do anything special here. You don't have to greet me at the door.
I
I'm
don't
not
know,
going to greet
I
you
feel-
at the
I feel
door.
Like they want to kill you all the time.
I like that too.
Like they would come and just lay on your face and smother
they
you. in
do
your
do
sleep.
that. Yeah.
Really?
This he won't shush though. We got to figure that out.
Well, yeah, and you
This is a
can't
new
yell at
problem.
a cat to be quiet.
I
Like,
did. I told.
Does it listen?
No.
Okay.
But
yeah.
that's why I like them. I respect the hustle.
Worst excuse that you've used on being late to work? Cat sitting's got to be up. Cat sitting is a 1 seed.
I don't know. That was a real
I don't.
qualm.
Truth or not?
It was true.
Truth or a lie? Still, to me, that is a
Doesn't
1
matter.
seed on an excuse on the excuse
Dog
scale.
in homework.
Yeah,
Cat in
right.
the garage.
That's right. That's right. Flat tire.
I'm pregnant.
I don't believe you.
I can't find my keys.
Billy Embody here coming up shortly.
Oh, he's here.
Okay, sweet.
Oh gosh.
Remember, Johnson Spillers, our official dentist over here at the Jordy Culotta Show. A couple of locations for Johnson Spillers. One out in Gonzales, the other in Baton Rouge. Check them out on Prepara Avenue. They can do everything from general dentistry. I just got a tooth implant that I'm coming down the home stretch on. And it's been great. Easy to work with. Great team over there at Johnson Spillers. Check them out online. They can help you out with pediatric dentistry as well. Online at johnsonspillers.com, johnsonspillers.com. Let's go to Babyface Billy. I can see him through the video. He looks fresh shaven here on this Tuesday morning. My man is all into the video calls. He was actually our inaugural video call. Actually
was my
popped
first
our video cherry with Billy Embody. It's always good to remember and go back to your first. We go back to ours here. Billy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Very crisp.
Good.
Very crisp.
Yes,
It looks
sounds
great. Billy, I like the beard better, to be honest.
Ooh.
It was
Controversial take.
still on my face a few hours ago. So, you know.
Fiance's call here.
just
What side does the fiance fall on the side of the argument here? Is she kind of a scruff, or is she like the clean shaven?
Clean shaven with a little scruff.
Okay, so 2 or 3 days.
honestly, it was just a timing thing.
Yeah.
It was a timing thing. Jordy, you texted me probably 20 minutes after we, bid farewell to the latest.
It was like a group effort.
We'll check back.
A couple
We'll check
shave.
back in 3 days to see to vote on where we
Yeah.
stand. Billy, big news over the weekend in recruiting was that LSU had a 5-star defensive lineman down in Jaden Wayne. He was out of the state of Washington. Things seem like they went really good with him. Where do they stand?
Yeah, Jaden Wayne is one of the best defensive linemen in the country, a top 50 prospect, number 1 player in Washington, and he's got everybody after him, as you would expect. And LSU was able to get him back on campus for an unofficial visit. He actually visited in the fall, I believe, for the Florida game. or the Auburn game, one of the two. And, that was prior regime. It didn't really go as well. And Jamar Cain made an effort to go out and check on him early on when he got the job at LSU in January. And it paid off, and they got an unofficial visit. Jaden Wayne said LSU sits pretty high for him. He expects to return for what I would assume would be an official visit. No visit date scheduled just yet, but he will head to Alabama this weekend, which remains his leader from what he told me. So everybody is chasing the tide here, and they're chasing Alabama for a really, really good player. But it did go very well for LSU this weekend, he said.
Billy, we have seen LSU extend their reach and use the country as their recruiting ground here. Now with Frank Wilson back on staff, a guy who was obviously Louisiana first and has so many good relationships and ties in the state, what is the recruiting method under Poley and Kelly, Frank Wilson and crew?
Yeah, I would say right now it's an open door policy for Louisiana prospects to come through and check out LSU. And so we've seen a lot of guys like Derek Williams, Jaden Osbury, Shelton Sampson, Caleb Jackson. You've seen a whole host of Louisiana guys come through for visits. And then on the flip side of it, they brought in some really, really good talent out of state. Jamar Cain is recruiting nationally. It seems like Brian Polian has some connects across the country. Brad Davis is going national in this class for offensive linemen after signing two from Louisiana in 2022. They also do have some in-state talent on the offensive line that Frank Wilson's kind of heading up recruiting. Tyree Adams is a big prospect out of New Orleans. Caden Jones is a promising prospect. They've got some others that they're looking at as well. I would just say it really is a little bit more of a mixed bag from Louisiana to national, but it does seem like they're kind of picking the right national guys to go after. I mean, I haven't seen many guys pop up on campus that I sit there and say, I just don't see LSU overcoming, X school that has an inroad or X school that has them right in their backyard, and they're going to be able to, win that recruitment fairly easily over, plenty of schools. For the most part, it seems like they're targeting the guys they want to bring in, pretty well. It seems like they do have legit chances to land most of these guys that are visiting campus. And it's setting up for a summer that, we could see a lot of these guys make return official visits. And they're continuing to offer guys. We've seen the safety position send out some offers. Jacoby Johnson out of Oklahoma. They offered recently Jordan Castell out of the state of Florida, who they're still after. So, I mean, it is really a continuing evaluation for a lot of positions. Linebacker is one that's really going to be difficult. Linebacker is a really hard position to project. And, a lot of these prospects are playing like an in-the-box safety role, which is really appealing, and they're not ready to make that jump into linebacker, so it makes it harder to evaluate. But overall, I would just say it's a Louisiana with certainly some national flavor.
Billy, we knew the positions of need and areas of concern for LSU over the past couple of cycles, being on the line of scrimmage with the offensive line, defensive back jumps up, but it seems like they're still trying to fill some void in the back end of that secondary. I know that an offer just went out to Micah Tease for the 2023 cycle. What do you see in the defensive back recruitment during this recruiting period and advantages for LSU?
Yeah, things are really starting to pick up on that front, I feel like, and especially at safety. We've seen a couple guys that they've been targeting really start to pick up some momentum on LSU side of things. Michael Doherty is coming off an official visit to North Carolina this past weekend. The weekend before, he was at LSU. He's a four-star safety who's from Loganville Grayson, one of the top programs in the country from the high school ranks, and LSU's been battling it out with North Carolina there. He's supposed to announce his decision on Wednesday. He's kind of a nickel safety, and so would kind of fill in that role where Greg Brooks has been playing in spring ball and Sage Ryan is playing right behind him. So kind of continuing to address that position. And then at the true safety front, another prospect from a really, really good high school program out of Texas, Denton Gyers, Ryan Yates, who dropped the top four of LSU, Cal, Michigan State, and Texas Tech. Ole Miss has also been in there as of late. But right now, I mean, it does seem like he's starting to narrow things down. I know there's a lot of predictions in for him to end up at LSU. And I think right now LSU's the leader for him as well. So The safety position is really starting to pick up. Cornerback is a group that Robert Steeples is really going national for the most part from what we've seen. There's still in-state guys like Curly Reed, who's on the board. But Jeremiah Hughes out of Las Vegas was on campus recently. He's a guy that LSU is really, really high on. You mentioned Micah Tease. They just offered him, and he wants to visit over the summer. And Christian Gray, who's a former player for Robert Steeples, is another four-star prospect who's I believe just added Alabama and Clemson. So that one's getting interesting. And then a guy who's in five-star range, JVN Toviano out of Arlington Martin in Texas, is another one that's on the board and would probably be a plug-and-play starter, in my opinion. He's that good. So that position is continuing to be addressed. I think safety right now has a little bit more momentum, but corner has at least had all their top guys on campus for unofficial visits this spring, and that'll probably translate into official visits later on.
Bill, speaking of defensive back, they just had a transfer target on campus in DB Seven Banks out of Ohio State. I saw a couple of Georgia offensive linemen land in the transfer portal over the last 24 hours. Where do they stand on some of these big, high-end named transfers that obviously have interest in what's going on in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, Seven Banks out of Ohio State is probably somebody that I would say as of now, things are, all name team for sure, and is looking like somebody is looking like someone that could very well end up at LSU. He's a super senior. He's got that 1 year. He wants to, go somewhere with a big stage before his 2023 NFL draft. He battled some injuries this fall, opted to go ahead and return to the college game, but had to transfer to do so. So he's doing that. He visited, and kind of all signs are right now pointing towards LSU ending up with Seven Banks. Now, the thing with the Georgia offensive linemen, since they entered when they did, they can't transfer to an SEC school without graduating and playing right away. So I would say those guys right now, unless they were willing to take somebody that has a year to sit and not contribute, odds are they're not going to pursue either one of those guys there.
Billy, at the halfway mark in spring football right now on the Ponderosa, it seems like one of the big storylines is on the offensive line with a true freshman. What is standing out on the practice field, first one under Brian Kelly here in the spring?
Yeah, Will Campbell is plugged in at that left tackle spot, and even I noticed when we were out there on Saturday, he was staying in there with the second team to continue to get reps. And they pulled him out a little bit after that, but still those extra reps, those extra opportunities to get that experience against college players. But he stands out physically. I mean, I saw him as a high school recruit, and even now, I mean, you could tell he's been preparing and looks the part of somebody that can play right away on an offensive line in the SEC. So he's been terrific from what Brian Kelly said. He was really impressed with his maturity, which is why they opted to go ahead and put him in at left tackle and leave him there and let him grow, because he can bounce back from bad plays very well. That started up a competition with Marcus Dumerville and Cam Wire at right tackle. Figuring out that interior is probably a little bit more interesting because you don't have Marlon Martinez out there. You don't have Garrett Dellinger out there. Who knows if they add another transfer on the offensive line? Will that be an interior guy? You've got Miles Frazier playing inside. Tremont Shorts is in there. Xavier Hills had a really good spring. So you've got a lot of different options in there that are all battling it out. I think it'll be a good group when it comes together. Just from a talent perspective, I think it's upgraded in a big way. And the interesting thing will be is how does Will Campbell hold up in the SEC as a true freshman? It's going to be a process for him, regardless of how talented and how physically ready he is. When you step on that field as a true freshman in game one, it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Billy, we heard from Jaden Daniels over the weekend for the first time. He also showed off a little bit of his athleticism in being able to get outside and extend the play with his feet on Saturday. What have you seen from the transfer quarterback, and kind of how do you like that competition at the midway point?
Yeah, I think Jaden brings that ability to extend plays and make plays with his feet, which if the offensive line is still kind of coming together, you're gonna want some of that. And Miles Brennan has that ability to get the ball out quick, and he's got a stronger arm from what it seems to me. He's a little bit more accurate. But quite honestly, between among all the quarterbacks, I wasn't too in love with how accurate they were overall in practice. Walker Howard dropped that dime to end practice on Saturday, which was great. But whether it was they were working pressure drills on Thursday or whether it was team stuff on Saturday that we were able to see, consistency needs to improve on the accuracy front. And again, that's just like a short dive into what we're seeing as media, but that stood out to me. I think Jaden Daniels can, have those designed runs, and they weren't just your zone read. They were, a screen, look that off, and then tuck it and run around the edge. You've got an offensive lineman pulling in front of you. Just different design runs that, Mike Denbrock is familiar with and comfortable with after having Desmond Ridder. And, I don't know if Jaden Daniels is going to have a year like Desmond Ridder had. I mean, he's about as good as they came, through college football over the last few years. But that comfort of being able to call those plays and how Jaden Daniels fits into those stood out to me. And that can, pick you up 5-6 yards at times, or maybe you spring a big play. And it keeps the defense honest, and it helps you open up other options.
Couple rapid fire from some of our listeners here. Hashtag Ask Billy from Cordell Music. Billy, how is Quincy Wiggins holding up out there?
He's a really good player. Savion Jones was talking about him on Saturday after practice, and just how he needs to continue to develop and come off the ball harder each time, which is probably what, coming out of high school, Quincy Wiggins needed to work on the most anyway. Yeah. That consistency. He's still relatively new to football in general, being a basketball player, and just that consistent level of effort and get off. But talking with multiple people, I mean, they're very excited about what Quincy Wiggins is going to do long term. I think he's somebody that could very well slide inside. He carries weight very, very well. I think he's going to be a draft pick in the long run.
Brandon Dixon, hashtag Ask Billy. Billy, anything news on Anthony Bradford?
Yeah, Anthony Bradford, we haven't heard too much on. He's somebody that we didn't see in the too deep. He's certainly somebody that didn't end last season with the team. It seems like he's got some work to do to get back on the field and contribute.
Robert Miller, hashtag Ask Billy. Billy, what's going on with Tyler Steen, the Vanderbilt transfer, who it seems like there's some smoke around him being a silent Alabama commit?
Yeah, a waiting game. We've heard anything from last week who's going to make a decision to early this week to, we're just kind of waiting. But from what I've heard, most of the signs point to Alabama being the next school for Tyler Steen. Maybe he has some second thoughts, but, talking with, people around, who cover Alabama, people who are from the Miami area where Steen's from and things like that. I mean, it seems like he's probably going to end up at Alabama here pretty soon.
Bill, before I get you out of here, last one, just from my point of view, what have you made of some of the latest basketball moves that has been made for Matt McMahon bringing in and trying to build this roster?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the staff really impressed me. The way that he put it all together. I mean, you got guys that were assistants under him, Tim Kaine, Ron Rico White, that ended up, moving off the court. You have some of these guys that, are up and coming. Cody Toppert is somebody that really impressed. I mean, Casey Long is a Louisiana guy. They just put together a staff that, top to bottom, really has overall just bought in to what Matt McMahon wants to do. So I was impressed with the way the staff came together. As you're following it, you're not really necessarily thinking, oh, okay, he's going to get this guy to move off the court and away from a, on-court staff position, but he ended up doing it, and that says a lot about his vision for the program. I think we could see some more news come this week about more additions back to the roster.
Babyface Billy from On3 Recruiting. You can find and read his work on3.com. You can also hit him on social media to keep up with the latest. He is a must follow if you're an LSU fan, whether you are looking for basketball, baseball, football news. Get the latest from our guy Billy Embody. At Billy Embody is where you can follow him on social media and read his work at On3 Sports. Thank you, buddy. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks again. Thanks again, guys.
All right, man.
Appreciate
See you.
it.
There is Billy Embody checking in this morning as we talk a little bit there about the latest of LSU football from the practice field. Those conversations brought to you by City Cafe. Remember, our friends over at City Cafe can help you out with daily lunch specials. Check them out, citycafebr.net. citycafebr.net. Squeaky Miranda, Cody Miranda, Dirk, and the crew over there can get you set up today. As we've told you, this is a great place to meet for lunch meetings if you are looking for a convenient place to bring a meeting, if you're looking to bring your company, if you're looking to just get out of the office. They've got great rooms, great space available over there that they can set you up over at City Cafe on the corner of O'Neil and George O'Neil. It's where good friends meet. They've been in business for over 100 years. They got daily lunch specials every single day, and they also have a brunch that gets going on Sundays at 10 a.m. What do we got today?
They cater
The
off-site.
pot roast?
Little turkey wrap,
All right.
little beef pot roast.
Do they do that?
Cater?
Like cater off-site parties?
Yes, absolutely.
That's good to know.
So check out the Tuesday lunch specials there. You can look at them all online at citycafebr.net.
Garlic fish of the day.
CityCafeBR.
That's interesting.
It
Makes it
is.
seem like it's going to be garlic every time.
It does. I guess it is.
I guess it has to
With
be.
a bunch of butter. The
Yeah,
health
and
food.
the health food.
That's right.
Nature's health
Superfood.
food.
You're looking at speed up, drop weight.
Eat a stick of butter.
You just stick of butter.
Hey, remember our promotion that we had going on with our friends over at Dead Soxy? It is still going on until this Friday at midnight. All you have to use the promo code Jordy to save on your socks. All you have to do is visit deadsoxy.com. After that,
Actually,
Mississippi State series,
there's a different website.
Is that tiny one?
Tiny.1/Jordy. I'll put it in the chat. But
What's wrong with you? Did you develop this?
Tiny.1.
It's just a link, and that's how they're tracking it, because since LSU hit so many freaking home runs, they're trying to track all that. I talked to them yesterday. I was like, yeah, great job on that promotion. It was thrilling for me all weekend.
Yeah, well, this is the second time. The first time they got burned by the LSU football team, where that promo LSU football didn't kind of put
That's
up a
right.
stinker.
That's right.
And now they get their
deserve
money's worth
this.
here with the LSU baseball team coming through.
They
So what's
deserve
up with the
this.
new website?
It's not. It's just a link. I mean, they can go and buy anything from deadsoxy.com and use the code Jordy to get 10% off normally. But for this specific promotion, they want us to use this link, the tiny.1/Jordy, which I put in the chat.
So it's
To-
Rico's
to-
website. Tiny.1. What is it?
awesome.
Rico.1
Jordy.
/
It's
Jordy.
right there in the top of the doc. So that's what they want us to use through Friday of this week. if
David.1 / Goliath. Rico, little man's having a little man syndrome meltdown this morning.
He
I
is
see
having a
he's giving
meltdown.
the psycho text into the chat back to back to back.
Jordy is a
Rico.
tiny one in all caps.
Yes. Rico's psycho texting in this morning. Put the phone down. Rico, what is it that you do? We were seeing that you were checking in yesterday during my Took show. There is rumors and murmurs that you creep on other people's shows on other stations on YouTube. Being this
do all
small
day?
and short, what do you do all day, Rico? Besides talk shit to people that are much bigger and stronger than you.
And
Send us
faster.
your email, Rico, and prove it.
Yes. Today would
all
be a
we've
great
asked.
day for the video call,
It would
Rico.
be. It would be Rico. He obviously knows Billy Embody.
Does he?
Well, he said, did you miss that in the chat? He said,
Well,
over
yes,
and
he's hit me
over.
with a flurry of text that I can't keep up.
He said, ask Billy. Billy knows that Rico is 6'4".
Billy is not the one to ask, I'd imagine. Billy has to be very accurate on his height and weight, so Rico might be barking up the wrong tree
That's
because
right.
Billy does recruiting. So
That's right.
He knows a 6'4" when he sees one.
Yeah, right. Because all of those heights and weights are dead on
Dead
accurate.
accurate.
Yeah, right.
How do you know Embody, Rico?
He doesn't. Rico's a liar
Claiming that
and a
he
thief.
He is a troll, literally.
claiming that he
a
does.
troll. Little bitty troll.
Tiny.1.
All right, so a little news there on LSU basketball as we gave you a couple of more incoming guys there, and we will have Matt McMahon in studio with us. Looks like next Tuesday morning, the new LSU head basketball coach going to swing through here on the Jordy Culotta show. We'll have looking forward to
Has
that
he heard
conversation.
our show?
I think he's been briefed after the
What do you do with the pillow?
after the
Love that.
conversations.
Oh,
I think
man.
look, he's gonna see us how we are. Man.
get a
Okay.
new
We're not
pillow.
hiding for Coach McMahon.
I get a new pillow made.
you could
The girl
easily.
that makes our pillows is like,
Very
what
easily.
are these?
What are y'all?
It was
Yeah.
Dick Vitale and then
Where
this
did we
guy.
do with Dickie V? We got to get him back. He's
Somebody-
not dead.
Well,
we
he got
buried his
sick.
pillow.
He
Yeah.
got
We
sick,
buried
so we
his
decided
pillow.
to stop
Well,
with the clown nose pillow. But I have no idea. It's probably still at the UDL, huh?
It is.
The ESPYs are going to be on fire for Dickie V whenever that time comes.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brandon Murray is, as we said, heading to Georgetown. I would expect
You're getting your ass kicked in this poll.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Wait, what is it? What's
55%, 55-45 Patrick Ewing as the face of Georgetown basketball.
Wouldn't go so as far as an ass whooping, but it's we got time to catch up.
Yeah, beating the spread.
We got time to catch up. Yeah. Halftime spread's not going to be good for us for sure.
Getting slaughtered for liking cats.
Hearing some whispers about Alex Fudge maybe ending up and staying in the SEC. Right now, it looks like Florida is the lead school for Fudge, which, in my opinion, after Brandon Murray would be the guy that I would want the most if I was an opposing coach on my team. I think if you're rating LSU's roster and you're seeing the guys that are in the transfer portal.
Where's Ace Wolf? Has he picked a school yet?
I think Wolf is slow playing this.
He's Tyrann Matthew the
and
whole deal.
He's starting to hear from
LSU.
the Kentuckys and the Dukes and the North Carolinas and the schools that are on the high end. The Kansases are calling and wanting to get in.
Arkansas. Do you think he stays in the SEC?
I don't know. I think that there's right now. I think he's wide open.
Damn. Who else is trying to pick a school?
All of them.
Everybody's still trying to figure it out.
Well, I mean, Brandon Murray's the only one
Right.
that he's chose Georgetown. Xavier Pinson is down to Xavier and Mississippi
weird.
State,
I know. I saw that.
which is strange.
Shut up, Lloyd.
What?
Why gross?
What?
God.
I thought maybe
Leave
he
me
would be a
alone
little
this
bit
week.
more
Leave me
bluer
alone.
of a blood.
Yeah, me too.
Xavier's weird. That's weird.
It is weird.
I thought it was a joke.
It's a strange final too.
Yeah.
I think Efton Reed is. I know he visited Virginia Tech, and there are some talks of possibly Georgetown for Efton Reed with the relationship that he has with Kevin Nickelberry. But I think that to have to play against Fudge next season, potentially for the next 2 years, that sucks, man.
Overtime Fudge.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotta retire it.
I think that Fudge is a guy like Murray that was set to make an enormous leap between year 1 and 2. For a guy like Murray, he was counted on so much. He had a lot of pressure on him throughout the season to score for LSU and get him out of some times where they just couldn't find the basket. And he got better over time. And I think, taking that pressure off of him, I'm saying if he would have been at LSU, what his second season would have looked like compared to his first season, I think would have been very dramatic in how much he would have improved and been consistent in his play every night. Fudge is a totally different type of improvement, right? Like Fudge wasn't counted on each and every night to give you meaningful minutes. Some nights that he was counted on to play major minutes. Some nights he didn't play at all. But for him, you could see the intangibles that he brought to the game, things that you just couldn't coach: height, jumping ability, protect the rim, ability to sprint rim to rim, hand-eye coordination around it. I mean, all of that stuff now, understanding the speed of the game, the competition, the night in, night out grind of SEC basketball, the day in, day out grind of SEC basketball, regulating school and academics compared to basketball, all that stuff. I mean, his curve was a little steeper than a guy's like Murray, but you didn't have the need for Fudge as much as you needed Murray to step up and play a little bit more mature than you would hope to ask him to do as a true freshman. Fudge had the opportunity to kind of get his feet underneath him in his first year, and now ready for a second season where he understands the pace, the flow, the game. And I really expected him to have a huge breakout second year in college basketball. He can still do that, and it looks like that's probably going to happen, staying in the Southeastern Conference. And I'm hearing a lot that it could be around Florida where he could land. Donnie T asking, where did Eric Gaines go? Eric Gaines has not yet settled on a school as well. I've heard some things around Georgia Tech, obviously going back home. And then UAB seems to be a school that keeps getting a lot of attention for Eric Gaines. He's getting a lot of attention from the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and seems like that could be a player on a potential landing spot.
And they have a good
for Eric Gaines. They usually have a pretty good squad. They're usually put together.
It's kind of shocking to see where these guys are ending up whenever you see what the roster Will Wade had kind of put together. It doesn't seem like they're landing at the places where they were kind of heralded as when they were brought in as recruits.
Yeah. And, that happens in college basketball.
Yeah.
College basketball to me is...
Did you passing notes now?
Did you just put in your 2 weeks, Stewie? What was that?
Circle yes, no, maybe.
Maybe. Oh.
Holy shit.
What?
Good God.
Well, pass that note to me.
I'm
well,
just
what
kidding.
the-
Calm
We were
down.
like,
I quit.
Everybody
Sorry.
calm down. Everybody calm down.
There's nothing better than a note, though. Like knowing something that somebody else
I
doesn't
know.
know is the best.
I know.
Do they still pass notes in school?
I don't think so. They
Just
text.
text?
Yeah, no need for notes.
It's
Is-
probably easier to text whenever
Well, there's no way that kids are allowed to mess with their phones during
They have
class.
it on. They have
their
MacBooks
laptops,
and
their-
their texts are on there, or Sophie does. So I mean,
that's what
they're
we did
texting
during
me all day.
Yeah, that's what we did during ISS. We would set up the in-school suspension. We would set up the laptops and then just talk all day.
Wow.
I got caught sleeping under the desk.
What a Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, that was a problem.
No, for sure.
Were you?
Yeah.
The cat sitter.
And the more things I say, I
sitter.
realized that they
Yeah,
probably
right.
hated me at Menard.
Oh, you a note passer?
I was like a yes if it had answers to a test on it. That's what I needed.
Oh.
But
yeah.
no, we were of the generation of like the flip phone, but
Yeah.
we got to the point where you didn't have to look. You could just keep it in your pocket and like text without looking at it, like A B D E.
My God,
you
that
you
was
just
so
memorize.
annoying.
I know.
Did
Did you T9 or did you?
Do
Do you remember like T9 texting where you could kind of predictive text?
I forgot about that.
Wow.
That's right.
T9. I thought you were talking about the calculator.
No, that was a huge tool though.
It was.
Because you
They
could play
still
games
use
on
those.
it.
It was.
And you could also write on the back.
You could write,
Yes,
absolutely.
and put your notes in there.
No doubt.
Oh yeah, and the little cover.
Mm.
And it had that slide. Where you,
Exactly.
yeah.
Have you, dude, there were some times when you slid it too much and all of your notes were gone. You're like, well, I'm fucked.
Yeah, no doubt.
Who wrote that? Why did
Too
I
much.
think this was going to work?
Brian
lead
Burgess,
everywhere.
congrats on getting Coach McMahon live in studio today. Brian, that's a
It
week
says next week
from
right there.
today, buddy. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just saying today.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Katie. What are you, his
Trying to
agent?
figure that out. I mean,
BB's been nice today, so I don't want to.
He is
I don't want to.
nice.
Yeah, I don't want to
So,
poo-poo
yeah.
him.
people
Yeah,
think
what's
you
wrong
have
with
a-
you today, Brian? Why are you being so nice?
He
Oh,
is.
he's
He said,
always
"Look,
nice.
the audio's been great today." And he's like, "Well, thank you,
Yeah.
BB." And
He's
he's like, "Well,
always
you always
nice.
get shit on, so I'm gonna give you an attaboy."
Cody Boudreaux forgot to donate this morning with the $5 super chat. Thank you, Cody.
Aw,
Thank you,
thanks,
Cody.
Cody.
Keeping us afloat.
Slattery McCollum. Did all those guys
That's
transfer
Papa
just
Earl's friend.
because of the sanctions? Seems like teams are going to won't be in the Final Four. Well, I mean, you can't predict who's going to be in the Final Four today. I mean, I don't think that you could have said North Carolina after Walker Kessler left last summer would have made a Final Four run. But for a lot of these guys, it's just where can they play? Where can they step in and log minutes? I think that they've put enough film. Like a guy like Eric Gaines, you know who he is. His film's not going to change that drastic between this year and next year. So he's probably looking for a style that suits him best, and UAB is a style that plays up and down the floor. They get the ball off the rim. They get out and run. They like to run in transition and, kind of play rim to rim. And, I mean, that probably will show off Gaines' game. So I don't, I think that out of any of them that would transfer to a blue blood, it would probably be Adam Miller. It would probably be Miller that it wouldn't surprise me to look up and see him in a Kentucky, Kansas, Duke uniform next year at this time. So it would, but I think you'll start to learn all that information here pretty quick. You'll start to get that. You'll start to get that news brought over pretty quick. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works is number one in a number two business. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial, commercial, residential, and Lloyd's favorite, the backflow prevention.
Backflow.
They employ 30-year veterans
get
in
them
the
to Uncle
plumbing game.
Earl's.
Oh, gosh.
We got a guy.
Got a guy.
We got a
Jude
guy.
Barker. That's the guy you call. No social media, no website. Just the phone number that we tell you about every single day.
And hoodies.
225-776-2431. 225-776-2431. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. You get 15% off of the bottom line. It doesn't matter if it's a service call, maintenance call. You need somebody out just to kind of give you a tell you what's going on with your plumbing. 15% off if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show when you use Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Dialing them up, 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431 is the phone number to get in touch with Jude Barker, the entire crew over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works today. Tell them you heard it right here so you can save 15% before you have a problem down the line.
Before you have a problem. Brittany's pregnant, y'all.
Speaking of backflow prevention.
Jeez. She said she noticed that she started gaining weight after a recent trip to Maui.
Yeah.
So she got a pregnancy test, and I'm having
Social
a baby.
media pics didn't tip it off there, B. You're posing like it's 02.
Right.
Ugh.
And it's 2022.
The old hip huggers trying to bring him back.
She doesn't even have custody of her two children that she has right now. So
I didn't even know
why
she
is
had
this
kids.
a good idea? Yeah, with Kevin Federline too.
Okay, Fed.
Jaden.
What a
and,
legend.
Sean Preston
Legend.
and Jaden. That's how she says his name. Jaden.
Ugh.
She's
I
so
can see her
weird.
saying
Me
it.
too.
know,
Such a
y'all.
southern mother.
I'm so over her, and that this
feel like
seems like
Brittany-
a
Easy,
Smokes.
don't bail just yet.
Yeah. I feel like Brittany smoked cigarettes
Oh,
inside.
you don't think I should bail on her?
Don't bail just yet. I
Oh,
mean,
I
she's been
bailed
through
on
a
her.
hell of a decade, man.
She's brought a lot of that on herself.
I mean, we've
I'm over
forgotten
it
about
after
all of this
watching all
conservatorship.
No,
I mean, we
didn't.
forgot about
I think
our
she needs to
stance.
be back in it.
We forgot
thought
our
she
stance
should be
on
in
the
a conservatorship,
the
though.
entire time.
Yes. Yes.
Really? Can we check the
She's-
record on
yeah.
this?
Yes.
Are
Go
you
back
sure?
and check.
I thought you
were free Britney.
pro Britney.
No, I've never been free Britney. I think she's crazy.
Wow, pro Jamie.
You were very pro Britney. Or
Very
free
pro
Britney.
Britney.
You
Yeah, everybody
wanted
live
to
your
be.
life.
Very
If
pro
you want
Britney.
to mess your life up, go for it.
So you were pro Jamie.
I'm not pro Jamie necessarily, but I think she needs help. She has
Pick a
serious
side.
mental issues.
Right.
I don't think that like Jamie was the end all
I
be
think
all.
Jamie needs a conservatorship too.
Maybe he does, but I mean, she needs help.
She's gonna
She
be.
needs like guidance and a handler.
Do you think
of
she's
some
gonna be
sort.
like weird pregnant too, like on
Yes.
social media?
Oh
For
my
sure.
God! Look how she's naked on social media all the time. We're gonna see that belly. like all the time.
Go.
Probably more than just a belly.
Probably. Yeah. Well, she put her nipples out there
Yeah.
earlier.
We're gonna see it all.
She 40?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Can
mean-
you,
Or-
that's
or
a late
right over
pregnancy.
40.
Late pregnancy.
It's a miracle baby.
It is not. People have babies at 40 all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
She is 40.
Is she like
Thank you,
exactly
Stewie.
She's
40?
40.
Exactly.
Is that what's on that note? Britney Spears is 40.
That was the note.
She just
That was
texted me.
Hey, you're close to her. You're in what, the 6 degrees of Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon
you are.
to
Yeah.
To Brittany.
to Brittany. We should get her on the show.
Ooh,
That would be an all-timer.
what a
mean-
get.
I don't even know what I would ask her.
I know. I was about to say, what would the angle of questioning be?
I don't know.
What happened?
I mean, we know what happened. I mean, the media tore her up,
Sheesh.
and that is sad. And I hate that happened. And I think that's what started her fall from grace. But I mean, she doesn't have to be living this life out there. She doesn't have to put everything on social media and act the way she acts.
You think she shaves her head again?
I don't know.
Ah.
Shaves her kid's head?
Oh God.
C-section or natural birth? She's gonna do like a water birth. She's gonna do something weird.
It'll be on Instagram.
On social.
On
We'll
social,
know.
she'll go live.
Yeah,
right.
it'll be a
Probably.
live birth on social.
That, oh God. We
Pick
might
the phone up.
Jaden! We might not be wrong.
I don't.
And she had
Who knows?
She
Who
had
knows?
really bad
Really?
depression with her first
Would you watch?
pregnancies. So
Would I watch what?
Her
Good
birth
birth?
live.
Yes, I would.
I wouldn't even watch the tape if they made one where the baby was conceived.
Oof.
ooh, you wouldn't? You would
think so.
watch
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You
I
would.
would-
You
I would glance.
We'd put it right up here on Big Boss.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
Boss
Yeah,
75.
Screen sharing.
Yeah. Overrated.
Overrated.
Highly.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Cordell Music. Oops, I shaved it again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not Team Brittany. I think This is sad.
Wow, I think
I
I kind of want to check the record on this.
mean,
I thought
when
that
you
we
were,
were
like-
all kind of like pulling for Brittany.
Well, when you were crying
to
about
get
it,
out
I
of this
wasn't going to go
conservatorship.
against you. And I mean, she's
Oh,
a
wow,
woman.
now
like,
a little
crying
shot on
about
the
it.
well,
Team
you
Brittany.
were very emotional about her conservatorship.
Okay, I think you're overselling it a
think
little bit.
Really?
We
But I mean,
have to go check the tape.
I think so. I mean, I was definitely
think
pulling
you-
for her.
Yeah, I think
I
you
was definitely
talked about
urging for her to
how
get
it
out
brought
of a
tears to your
conservatorship.
eyes.
We decided that
What show are you watching?
Yeah,
I wasn't on it.
we did decide that we wanted
Pee in this
Brittany
cup.
to be free, but then once she was free, we're like, "Ooh, she probably
Yeah.
shouldn't
Yeah,
be."
yeah. I don't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that we were
Interesting.
freeing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, to lock this back up.
Never mind.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
When
She did
Cody
blow it
Boudreaux
immediately.
said, I bet Brittany will eat the placenta. 100% she will.
100%.
God,
Chew off her own umbilical cord.
She will cook that thing and eat it
Ugh.
and feed
That's
it to
what she'll
everybody.
go
Put it
live
in a
and
Schlotsky
do.
sandwich and
Eating
eat
the
it.
placenta. Like,
Yes.
guys, I'm eating my placenta.
She will. She will.
Like, just
She will.
Welcome back to the hot tub.
Jaden.
Jaden,
Didn't.
finish your food. That's your brother.
Oh, this guy. And the baby daddy's 28.
What is he in for?
He does.
It's
he has
official
no
now.
idea.
Yeah.
You'd think he would have an idea. He's been with her through the whole thing. He was with her in the conservatorship.
Yeah, he was locked up with her.
Well, people were claiming he wasn't really a
How
boyfriend.
long have they been dating?
I mean, several years.
Oh, so he's 28 now. He's been through the ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ruined. His whole life is gone.
He doesn't know. He doesn't
The
know
prime
what he's
of it.
getting into.
Right. Well, I guess prime Brittany. He didn't get.
Yeah, he missed prime Brittany.
He
was little.
got this Brittany.
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
what that
he's
move
getting.
is.
Oh,
She looks
either.
like a
It's
Mortal
so
Kombat
bad.
character.
Like a duck.
He does.
Choose your fighter.
That's
don't wanna fight
exactly
Brittany.
right. He doesn't know what he's getting into.
He has to.
Her freak out is all
He's
time.
28.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
that
he's
doesn't
going to
mean
get
that
into his 30s and be like, what did I do?
Make a baby with Brittany.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna have to raise it.
I mean, he might be like K-Fed and get a bunch of money, though. Yeah,
Does she have
he lives off of her.
Enough.
Shit to
to-
pay him child support.
She doesn't have
yeah.
the type of money she
No,
gave
K-Fed got the
Even though that was
sweet
I
deal
mean, that was pre the Vegas. Those Vegas deals
with the snake.
pay. No, not that one. The one where she was doing like the live show at the Vegas casino weekly. I mean, those types of contracts are
Isn't Cher still doing that?
She broke the
multi-million
contract
dollars.
though because Jamie got ill. Remember, and she quit the show. I was going to one of the shows.
She quit the show, or the contract expires.
She quit it because Jamie had health problems.
Wow, so she might have had to pay some of that money
She
back.
might have. I mean, it was a huge deal. People had
What do you
tickets
think her
to
net
future
worth
shows.
is right now?
I don't know. Google that.
200 million.
Cool.
Damn, you think
Bro, you
so?
got to imagine for about a 5 or 6 year run, she was
70.
the most popular person on the planet.
She was.
70 million?
Between 60 and 70. I don't trust these celebrity net
Me
worth
either.
websites though.
Yeah, we
Neither.
don't know if that's accurate.
But 200 at one point, no doubt.
Yeah.
That K-Fed,
Oh my gosh.
he is a legend.
He really
What a
is.
unit.
Yeah.
He just got fat.
Did he? Is he
Oh,
still
yeah.
fat?
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't at one point.
Well, he was a backup dancer, so yeah, he was in good shape.
I don't know
Wow,
how-
what a gig.
Oof. What a gig.
What a gig.
I wonder what the rumors were. Like, is she banging K-Fed?
No
There
doubt.
were heavy rumors. Remember, because
Yeah.
she went from Justin Timberlake to this unknown backup dancer.
The fallout on the tour had to be just epic.
Yeah.
Epic.
What do you think those team meetings were
JT
like?
got out of there.
No
Good
doubt.
move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he really did.
Oh, that's when they had. Didn't they have?
Not completely innocent, though.
No.
No, he wasn't. He said some ugly
Not completely
things,
innocent.
just like the media did. He tore her up a little
He
bit.
kind of knew how to play the media game a little bit
did.
better than her.
Mm-hmm.
and he
and
apologized for it.
he
so-
did.
He kept, his apology was not very sincere either.
It was-
Well,
but he
did
just
he
didn't. Nobody
really mean it? I mean,
no,
he
not
felt
at
like he
all.
had to
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what in the world she put him through. Like after
Didn't they
that
put
breakup.
pictures of each other in their toilets? Isn't
Oh,
that-
I don't know about that. I know they
they
wrote
did.
songs about each other and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they were both had to be virgins the whole time.
Yeah, I think there was a purity ring involved.
Early 2000s was weird.
Lots of purity rings
Yeah.
in the boy bands and stuff. Yeah, those always work. Always
Yeah.
goes over
Absolutely.
Yeah, those are always
They
work.
really stay
They
pure.
always
Might as well be a
work.
bullseye.
well. Really?
JP, when did this show become TMZ? About 6 minutes ago. JP.
What do you want to talk about, man?
I
Not a lot
know.
out
I
there.
mean, we're flailing over here. There's not a whole lot going on in sports. I mean, Adam Schefter apologized, so there's that. If we want to segue into that
Yeah.
from Brittany.
Think you meant it?
no.
I don't think
I
you
think
I
did.
think
had
Adam
to.
Schefter might have some sort of personality disorder. He didn't
like Brittany. So it is a good segue.
Yeah.
In what sense?
He just doesn't feel anything. Like he was very robotic in his tweets and what he's doing. He's all business.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this
I
isn't
think he
that
wasn't
important to be first
thinking.
now.
Right? I mean, I don't think he really meant to do that. Do you think he
I
meant
think
that
Schefter's
kind of
a
a
dick.
dig,
Yeah.
though, at
Yeah.
a dead guy?
Right.
Like, I feel like he was kind of saying,
I think he was
like,
kind of
this was his
saying what
career
the
and
Gil
now he's
Brandts
gone.
and the Bruce Allens of the world have told him through this entire process. I think that he's such a
Robot.
machine of football news that he just regurgitates everything that he gets as considered inside information when he can. You know, and I mean, I think it probably creates that type of drawn out personality, that type of cold personality, that type of almost emotionless personality where
Yeah.
you have no feeling. You can't even, man, you can't read the room on this. You're going to hit tweet on that?
Yeah.
You're going to type that out.
Call him a bust?
You're going to type this, you're going to type that out an hour after it's been confirmed that he is dead. That he is like, there are people around him that are grieving right now over this 24-year-old that has lost his life. And you're going to hit tweet on that? Like, you think you can't read the room in the sense of, hey, man, like, check the moment out.
Let the dust settle.
Take a step away for a minute. Be a human. You know what I mean? Like, just think about what you're about to do, man. And
He fired that thing off, no problem.
no problem.
Went straight back
No
to
problem.
work. Then he was
I
like,
even,
oh,
I
shit.
even think that the
Yeah.
flurry after that was even more of a kind of like, what do you want from me? Kind of like, let me put this out here and show you that this is,
This is my job.
yeah, this is who I am. This is my job. Bad look. Terrible look.
He's had a
He's had a
couple.
bad year.
He's had a bad year.
He's had a bad calendar year. And really for as far as timing goes, for him personally, couldn't be worse. I mean, his contract is up at, I want to say in July at ESPN. It's either before football season or right after football season.
Remember when he dabbled in basketball? He tried to be like an insider in there too. He was like on the sidelines and trying to do like
Really?
that kind of thing. Yeah. Then he was like quickly was like, this is not my game. Like this is still Woj territory.
Yeah.
Now it's Shams.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
dude, you can't transition that job. You can't say, hey, I'm the football insider. Let me go be the baseball insider. The reason why you're the football insider is because a guy like Adam Schefter grew up in the Denver Broncos franchise, understood football, made football relationships, was able to get in with the inner circle like Bruce Allen and those types
Mr.
of
Editor.
Absolutely. I mean, those types of personalities in the game that have they have carte blanche. They have no consequence. They get to the sixth ring of the Pentagon just by showing up. There's no wait for these guys. They paid all of their dues within the game, or so they perceive. Like Bill Polian, who was driving around LSU's practice field over the weekend. I mean, he's made some comments that you look back and you're like, wow, that's the Hall of Famer Bill Polian. But he's got this he's got this access and this status within the game where he's almost untouchable. I mean, and Adam Schefter has surrounded himself with those types of people where they give him this information, and that's the relationships that make him and give him an advantage to an employer like ESPN because they want to have the news broken on their site. And the reason why Schefter can do it is because a guy like Bruce Allen can pick up the phone and say, hey, we're making this move. Nobody knows about it. You do. Do what you do. I mean, nobody in baseball or basketball is going to trust Adam Schefter. I don't know that guy. Like, hey, I just broke the news on, Aaron Rodgers signing his deal with Green Bay. I mean, the general manager of the Milwaukee Bucks would be like, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, sweet. You know what I mean? What do you want me to tell you? Where Giannis is going to sign? I'm not. You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell that to the guy like Woj, who I've known for 15 years that I trust, which, by the way, I mean, the story of Woj breaking the Lakers, firing their coach, Frank Vogel, gives you an idea of just the disarray that the Lakers are in right now, right? I mean, like, Woj gets that piece of information. He breaks it. He says that the Lakers are going to move on from Frank Vogel. Vogel's asked about it in a game the other night. And Vogel, very aggravated, annoyed, pissed off, goes right back to the reporter and says, I hadn't heard shit. I mean, Vogel won a championship 2 years ago
Whether you think that was LeBron and Anthony Davis, whatever it was, they had to have a coach on the sideline to manage those personalities, put game plans together, execute on the floor, call the timeouts when they needed to call timeout, manage the game. Frank Vogel did that. He's a championship-winning coach. Whether it happened in the bubble during the pandemic or not, they recognize that as a world championship. And to treat that guy 2 years after he hoisted that trophy is just more than a bad look for the Lakers. Like, that's just terrible business. And the fact that the Lakers are being exploited like they are now, when Winning Time is thriving on HBO, is, I mean, karma in a whole different way, man.
Two ships passing in the night of the same franchise.
Like an incredible look at what the Lakers were and how they got there to how they are sinking right now. Now, NBA basketball you're a move away, in my opinion. You're always a move away from being relevant. And the Lakers have as much cachet, reputation, and brand as anybody in sports. Forget basketball. So they are, they're not dead, but right now they look like they are dying on the vine. And that latest news story that popped over the last 24 hours that Frank Vogel's being released and going to be let go by the Lakers. Woj broke the story before Vogel had anybody in the organization reach out to him, give him a status check, just give him an idea of where he's going. And then you've got Magic Johnson, who goes on like this. It seems like his routine whenever the Lakers are in trouble to just go out publicly and take a huge shit on them. Like he just makes things worse for the Lakers in the pub. I mean, he hopped on First Take with Stephen A. Smith last week, and he was talking about how the Russell Westbrook trade was blown up because they missed out on the first guy that they wanted, and how, I mean, just the organization for the Lakers and what they put off right now is just so dysfunctional. It's so just like, what is going on, man?
I mean, it is LeBron running the show, right?
It is.
Totally.
I mean, he got Melo, he got Russell,
Yeah.
AD. None of them play.
Mm-hmm.
You
Well,
wish
Russell's-
Russell didn't play.
Well, he's opening up now and saying he doesn't know why there was a disconnect between he and Frank.
Because
They
he wanted
never
you to stop
connected.
shooting, and you wanted to keep shooting.
Yeah.
Bear24, Jordy, do you believe Rob Pelinka, who's the president of the Lakers organization, when he says LeBron and Anthony Davis don't make decisions with them?
Okay.
I do not believe that at all.
Rob Pelinka or Rob Lowe? They look just
That is
alike.
They
weird.
do look very much
I
alike.
thought it was Rob Lowe when you pointed that out yesterday.
Yeah,
For a second.
what is he doing on TV?
I know. I was like, why is he up there on SportsCenter?
He's a big NFL guy, not an NBA guy.
Rob
The
Lowe?
hat. Yeah, he just had the hat that just said NFL on it when they showed him at the playoff game.
Really?
Mhm.
That's what his hat
That
said?
had no rooting interest, just the NFL.
That's weird.
Do you
I didn't
remember
know
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Gorgeous.
random.
Great. He is good looking.
Beautiful.
He is beautiful. He's a
Beautiful
beautiful
man.
man.
Who dat? People were saying the same thing about LSU when we fired. This is coming from Who Dat. When LSU fired their championship-winning coach after 2 years. You can fire your championship-winning coach after 2 years if you want as an organization. You can't let the media break it. Like, you have to be behind. You still have a business to run. I mean, like, you can't have that type of business being done with an organization, any organization. Not just the Lakers, any organization at that level can't have the coach being fired in the media and then him being asked about it publicly and telling you, giving you the fact of that I hadn't heard anything.
Shit.
I don't know anything. That's such a bad look for whoever is next. And they say Nick Nurse is the coach that's kind of being targeted by Los Angeles. He's a fantastic coach. Might be the best coach in the league. If he's not, he's in the argument of it. And he's the type of move that can bring the Lakers back pretty quick. I mean, you get him, he starts making a couple of decisions. He understands the personnel of it. You attract some talent to L.A. Next thing you know, the Lakers are back. I mean, I'm not saying that they're dead and gone, but how they're running right now, presently, feels like Saints of the 80s, Bengals before Burrow. I mean, it feels like the Clippers. I mean, the Lakers feel like the Clippers. I mean, this is what we expected, or at least I did when I was like a kid growing up. I mean, the Clippers were just a laughing stock of an organization.
they would do stuff like this where, stuff would seep out of things that were happening behind the scenes that you don't want the public knowing about that stuff. And routinely it would happen. For the Lakers, it's routine, man. This stuff is bad. It's a bad, bad look. And if it's this bad of a look to people like us in South Louisiana, can you imagine has everybody been to L.A. in this room? L.A. is a Lakers town.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the Lakers run Los Angeles. I know that there's been spurs when USC football has been high and UCLA and so. Yeah, the Lakers are constant. Drive around that town. There are murals of Shaq, Kobe, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul, everywhere. Byron Scott, Michael Cooper, all of the Lakers. It is a Los Angeles Lakers town. And this feels like the Clippers. They feel like the laughing stock of what the NBA was for 20 years, 25 years.
And that's with LeBron on the squad.
Yeah, but you said, like, LeBron's unplugging, and he's shutting down at the end of the season. He's not playing, and you can feel it. He's going to get himself out of there, right? He's going to be somewhere different next season.
You think so?
I definitely think so.
I don't know. That's crazy to me.
I definitely
can't see it happening.
Why? He's not going to put up with this. He's not. But
maybe with a coaching change.
Maybe. But, what's a coach going to do to LeBron at 39?
I don't know.
What's a coach going to tell LeBron at 39 years old? This guy played Pat Riley a decade ago. The godfather of the game. What is Nick Nurse going to tell LeBron that LeBron's going to truly respect?
I don't know. Maybe they'll just vibe better.
Maybe so.
The whole team will vibe better.
Whoever takes that job, if Nick Nurse takes the job, it would probably be under the
condition that LeBron stays.
Or he stays, or you have to limit his power.
You can't.
Well,
yeah, I think it's too late.
Look what happens.
Who else is in the running?
All things are good. Frank Vogel, when Anthony Davis is healthy and they're out there winning, things start going, and LeBron makes a couple of moves that turn out to be bad. You end up with Russell Westbrook, who can't shoot. LeBron saying he's kind of in, kind of out. Anthony Davis is his typical street clothes. You're fired.
Something's got to change.
What about Juwan Howard? How would he be? He's a candidate too.
Played with LeBron.
He's LeBron's friend.
So would that be weird?
No, that would be very typical LeBron.
Right. I think that would probably be the move that LeBron would probably urge for, because he can steer Juwan Howard. Mm-hmm. Right. And I'm not saying that Juwan Howard is weak or
little bitch.
You just gotta.
He'll put hands on you.
You got to assume whoever is LeBron's coach is not the final say so. Mm-hmm. It's not they're not going to get the final word.
Is he the most powerful player?
I think he's the most powerful person in sports. He's the most powerful athlete.
Well, you saw Ronaldo.
He's the most powerful athlete on the planet. Yeah. He started player empowerment.
He might be the reason for NIL.
Oh, he absolutely
Or the transfer portal, at least.
Mm-hmm. That was the bill that they signed on his HBO show when he had the governor of California on, signing the first NIL piece of legislation. California was the first to, from a lawmaking standpoint,
pass the bill,
put something forward that legalized paying student athletes. That was kind of tipped the NCAA off, like, hey, we got to fix this.
Now Alabama's in the game. I thought that's shocking. They just got into NIL.
Yeah.
What kind of news is that?
That's so funny.
We're just now in name, image, and likeness. Just started it.
Yeah. But I thought Bryce Young had $1 million deal last year, Coach, when you were speaking to the Texas coaches.
I thought you were sponsored by Dodge Charger.
All right. Have a good day. Have a good Tuesday. We will be back with you tomorrow morning. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like, share, comment, post on the YouTube channel. We appreciate you being here every single day. Hit the like button, share button, comment button. Go Chevrolet drives us. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
Did you see Ronaldo assaulted that 14-year-old autistic kid? He's in trouble.
Really?
Somebody who's taken a picture of him with his phone, and he slapped it out of his hand, and he didn't know he was autistic, but now he is in the news.
Wow.
It's a tough look.
That's unfortunate.
Soccer.